Welcome back to my channel. Now in this video I will be going over the rebuild of a vehicle, and depending on how many likes, commentation, and or subscriptions I get from this video will deem if I decide to do it again. However, I figured since I stated in past videos that I would probably be doing it in the future, I might as well go ahead and do that for you guys. Let you guys see how I rebuild vehicles. So with that being the case, let's go ahead and get started here. Let's start out by looking at the vehicle here. We have a 1983 was it an Emden Jager? So kind of like a Jaguar in the name anyway. Nothing like a Jaguar in the looks, unless you're looking back to the 1960s and 70s Jaguars that were never imported into the United States, however made overseas. They kind of look familiar to that. You might also mention the Corollas back in the late 80s, I want to say, where you have the Toyota Camry. That's also one that kind of looked like that hatchback style. But yeah, so we have this 1983 Emden Jager, and as you can see here, it has fairly low mileage. I mean, at least for the vehicles I rebuilt, at 177,716 miles. We have 158 horsepower, 5,695 RPM, 157 foot-pounds of torque at 4,780 RPM. So, fairly weak vehicle, but should be entertaining here. Now, as you can see, even just purchasing the vehicle from the, what did I get this? From the junkyard is where I got this one. It is still worth $253 just starting out. Now, that's pretty rare. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen the vehicle have a value for resale, right off the bat. So that is new for me, at least for a vehicle purchased from the junkyard. I mean, vehicles you get from the barn, that could be the case, but that would definitely be a first for the junkyard. So with that being said, what I like to do is start by taking the vehicle over to the car wash, and that's just so I can get a better look at it, and I won't have to do it before I do a paint job. That's one of the last steps of the rebuild. So here we go. Looks like pretty standard for a junkyard vehicle. Alright, so I'm just going to start by removing the body parts. What body parts it still has. This doesn't even have any glass in it. Wow. I am surprised this is worth anything at all, to be honest with you guys. But now that we got that, I'm going to start removing the mechanical parts. We'll start with this fuse box up top. It's the radiator there, and looks like an ABS pump. We got those removed. Let's go ahead and might as well go into the end here and take out that bench seat. Let's go back to normal there. I'll put it up on the lift here and remove all the mechanical parts from the bottom. That is, well, I am draining what I'm sure is no oil at all, but have to try it anyway. Yeah, looks like it is completely dried out. It is not even draining water. let's just take the tires off just to kind of see what it looks like without. I mean, I think I'll probably be able to repair about 3 out of 4 of those rims, to be honest. They're looking like they are in really bad shape. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and move that over. And that is how it looks without tires. Oh. Kind of looks like it did before without tires. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started on these. And since this part is kind of repetitive and boring, I'm just going to go ahead and fast food blah blah. Apparently I'm going to fast food through it. I'm just going to fast forward through this section of the video here. And if you would like to see exactly what I'm doing or what order I'm doing it in, you could always play this back on a lesser playback speed. That should compensate for the fast forward. Alright, so as you can see here, I have gone ahead and removed all the mechanical parts from the bottom of the vehicle. It looks like it didn't even have a fuel tank in it, which is interesting to say the least. I'm not sure if that's by design or just rusted out of the vehicle in the junkyard. But in either case, we're going to go ahead and pull this on over to car lift A. Let me just make sure. Alright, so in this one, it looks like I had yet to remove the transmission. We'll have to do that. Before we do that, we do have to remove the starter, which it looks like it's not even included in this vehicle. So, yeah, putting it down on the lift was not necessary. We'll go ahead and lift that on back up. And we could take out this front drive shaft. And now we should be able to pull the gearbox. Of which, were you not aware, you do have to pull the gearbox as well as all the exhaust connected to the engine and near the engine, and as well as draining the oil prior to pulling the engine from the vehicle. So now that we've gotten the engine pulled from the vehicle, we're just going to move this back for cosmetic purposes mainly, and go ahead and move the welder on in, and we will use the welder for $1,100. It's pretty cheap. Now you can see the frame is brand new. I'll move that welder back into place. So look around here. And remember that I forgot to pull a taillight. There you go. That does happen sometimes when you are not compliant with your archaic rhythm. But in any case, let's continue. So we're going to go ahead and put this 14 dual overhead cam, that's 14 valve dual overhead cam with a supercharged engine on the engine stand. And now I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward through the tearing apart the engine, and I will go ahead and get back with you here once we're finished with that. Alright, so as you can see, I have completely tore down the engine and went ahead and removed it from the engine stand. So I'm just going to come over here and start repairing the parts. For this, I will again fast forward through this as well. Just to make everybody aware, some of these parts will be parts that I did find in the junkyard when I was looking for this vehicle. So, and that's why you may notice so many engine blocks and engine headers that I seem to be failing on. With that, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through the rest of the 6 pages we have to repair, and save you guys the pain of watching me do this as well as listening to me do this. Kind of a special moment here. We both could see if I managed to repair the engine I picked out from this vehicle. There you go. Repaired successfully. So, let's go ahead and continue. Alright, so now that we've gotten that repaired, let's look at it again here. Right before we go ahead and put the engine back in. So we already had one in there too as well. I didn't realize that. Not that it would have stopped me from repairing it. It's just nice to know for future builds. Alright. Well, went ahead and pulled that out again. So now we can come over here, put it back on the lift. And I do not believe we have pistons or rings for it. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and purchase those. Let's go ahead and check something here. Haven't decided if I'm going to keep this vehicle yet or just, resell it. Since the resale on this vehicle would be so much. I mean, compared to the value of the vehicle itself, that is. It's kind of alluring, but if I were going to resell it, I'd be more prone to put in aftermarket parts a lot of the time. So, that's why I say that. I think I'm going to go ahead and throw some in here. It is only a 4-cylinder, so big whoop. So we'll start with those. And since the rest of this is kind of boring and repetitive, I will go ahead and fast forward through this for you guys. that completes the rebuild of the engine. It's kind of interesting that on this 14 valve dual overhead cam engine, it shows a silhouette of the exhaust while the engine is on the engine stand. That's kind of something that you never see. It confused me there for a second. I get confuzzled easily. Easily confuzzled. Oh, now that we got that engine back after placing it on the rack there, well, technically really not. We just kind of went in there and used that rack to place it in the engine after we removed the engine from the engine stand. But now that we got that in there, I do like to look over here and see how it looks with just the engine and nothing else in it. You know, it's kind of cool. Kind of memories pressed between the pages of a rebuild. With that being said, I will go ahead and get started on the rebuild of the lower mechanical parts. If there's anything I feel necessary to say here, I'll go ahead and put right in there and put my 2 cents in, and then make a quick exit. That's what I like to do anyway. So let's go ahead and get that started.
I've seen enough things to lose hope, and here I am still going. I am even stronger now. Evil is lurking around you, and maybe I'm mistaken. You know I'm feeling alright. Like something on my face, something in my veins still hurts. And I don't know what it takes, don't know what it takes to move on. The more that I've done, the less I become. I just live forever within our souls. Some do even know, and life will go on. And then we'll become just nothing at all. Just nothing, just nothing, just nothing, just nothing at all. Nothing at all, nothing at all, nothing at all. And then we'll become just nothing at all. We've seen all the words to ourselves just to know what it meant, so you took it away. Till times right connected, I'm gonna forget it tonight is done. There's something on my face, something in my veins still hurts. And I don't know what it takes, don't know what it takes to move on. Something on my face, something in my veins still hurts. And I don't know what it takes, don't know what it takes to move on. Something on my face, something in my veins still hurts. And I don't know what it takes, don't know what it takes to move on. The more that I've done, the less I become. I just live forever within our souls. Some do even know, and life will go on. And then we'll gone, just nothing at all. Just nothing, just nothing, just nothing, just nothing at all. Nothing at all, nothing at all, nothing at all. A day will be gone, just nothing at all.
Alright, so now that I have all the lower mechanical parts in, I'm going to go ahead and start separating the tires here. And see about getting the rims repaired. And we'll go ahead and put those tires back on the rims. Alright, so surprisingly enough, we were able to repair all of those rims there. I do believe. Let me see. No, it looks like only 3 of them. Rim Retro 1215s. We're going to come over here and purchase one Rim Retro 1215. And we got the 185 5515 for the tire. What was that? 185 5515. Okay. 185 55. And we'll just get 4 of those. And go ahead and reinstall those onto the rims. What I like to do here is just install that first one onto the rim and then take that off and go ahead and install the second one. And while we're doing that, just a multitask here and get the job done faster. It balance another tire. So go ahead and put that on there and start balancing this other one. Alright, so now that we have those balanced, we'll go ahead and put them back on the vehicle. Alright, so now that we have all those tires mounted back to the vehicle, we're going to put this down here and start putting in what parts we do have for the interior and purchase the parts we don't have to install those.
I've seen enough things to lose hope, and here I am still going. I am even stronger now. Evil is lurking around you. And maybe I'm mistaken. You know I'm feeling alright. Like something on my face, something in my veins. Still hurts. And don't know what it takes, don't know what it takes to move on. The more that I've done, the less I become. I just live forever within our souls. Some do even know, and life will go on. And then we'll become just nothing at all. Just nothing, just nothing, just nothing, just nothing at all. Nothing at all, nothing at all, nothing at all. And then we'll become just nothing at all.
Alright, so now we finished putting in all the parts in the interior of the engine bay. We'll go ahead and start refilling the fluids. Alright, so now we have all those fluids filled. Let me check and see what type of vehicle this is, just as a reminder. Oh, and side note, even without the body parts, the purchase price of 6,041 credits, I will be making a profit of 36,054 credits. That was honestly unexpected. Didn't expect to make that much off of, just a Corolla looking coupe. But with that being said, we'll make note of this, the Emden Jager. And go ahead and put that in here and just see what kind of parts I already have for it. I'm just going to go ahead and take pretty much all of them. There. We'll go ahead and put on the parts I already have for it. And the parts I do not have, we could go ahead and purchase. Alright, so I've went ahead and put on the parts I do have, so we'll start adding the parts I do not have here and get those purchased so we can get those added to the vehicle prior to taking the vehicle over to the paint shop. Oh, it looks like this vehicle has a few aftermarkets on it. So, that being the case, we will have to go over to the body tuning shop and pick those up. Alright, so this vehicle does look all ready for the paint shop. Side note, if you were looking for a quick tutorial on the paint shop outside of this video, you could always look in some of my YouTube shorts. Many of the YouTube shorts go briefly over a lot of these additional functions you could do within the game. That might be helpful for anybody new to the game or looking to get into it. But that being said, let me go ahead and start painting. I don't know, after seeing the dark blue, black seems tempting. Let me see what looks best here. Pink actually looks good. No diddy. And oddly enough, gray looks even better. Honestly, the gray color on this reminds me of the Mustangs being released in the late 90s. In particular, the Mustang GT 5.0 liters. It really does look enigmatic of that style. I think I'm going to go with gloss on this. And skip over that, that. See if we can get any livers. Well, that one's kind of cool. I think I'm going to go with the black stripes. Now that kind of looks enigmatic of the newer Mini Coopers being released. Side note, in regards to a newer Mini Cooper being released, I recently was driving in the inner city portion of my city when I drove past a Mini Cooper sitting on its rooftop with the airbag deployed and some of the parts falling off. Both doors open. It looked like they already extracted the occupants of the vehicle to the hospital, and they were just waiting on the recovery vehicle to get it off the street. So, yeah, that was something. Now, that we'll go ahead and move this back out of here. Let's go ahead and take it to the test path so we could get the wheels aligned. Now, like I was saying before, with the YouTube Shorts videos, I do go over both wheel alignment as well as headlight alignment. So, if you're looking to learn a little bit more about those, or just want to get a video that goes over those independently of this video, that's going to be your best bet. Let's go ahead and get started here. Alright, so we've completed that process, and now we're going to go ahead and move it over to the dyno here. Now usually when I put my vehicles on the dyno, I like to be reminded of all the parts I did forget. So let's go ahead and check on these parts here. Now of course I'm being a little bit sarcastic with that statement, which is why I'm double checking to make sure all the parts that I need to start and run the vehicle are currently installed, which they do seem to be. So let's go ahead and start it out. There you go. There you go. So while the vehicles required to start and run the engine are installed, it does appear I forgot a rear suspension arm B. Now I hate to say it, but this is a common occurrence for me. And quite frustrating one, to be quite honest. I mean, you get the vehicle together, you get the paint job done, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. And then you have the dyno tell you what parts you forgot. Alright, so we got that in. Let's hope we didn't forget anything else here. Let's go ahead and move this over to the dyno. Okay, we are good to go. So you can see we started out with 158 horsepower, 5,695 RPM, and 157 foot-pounds of torque with 4,780 RPM. We'll go ahead and start the test from here and see how much we have added. You can hear the sound of that engine. Sounds pretty cool with the aftermarket, was that the aftermarket muffler I put in the back, as well as the rest of the aftermarket exhaust parts. But looks like we made an addition of 31 horsepower and 21 foot-pounds of torque. That puts us at 188 horsepower with 5,750 RPM and 185 foot-pounds of torque at 4,840 RPM. That's a 20% enhancement on the horsepower and an 18% enhancement on the torque. That also puts us at a drag rating of D at 191. I think that's pretty high in the D list, if I'm not mistaken. So we might have to take this to the drag strip. That'll be a fun video for all of us. Alright, so now we've gotten that all done, let me go ahead and put it out at the entrance here and take a look into what parts we will need to install in the interior. We're going to here, interior, and here. We'll go ahead and get 2 of these leather seats. And a bench Jager. Sometimes I like to imagine what it would be like if we could replicate the engine builds that we create within these games, or just the vehicle build entirely. I mean, just go ahead and recreate it using a replicator and take that baby out for a drive at your local racetrack. In RL, as they call it, being real life, of course. It's kind of funny when you say it like that. But it looks like we have pretty much finished the build, I believe. Let me see here. Oh, we got 100% in body, frame, parts, and interior. Oh, there it is. Let's go ahead and take a picture for posterity's sake. And there we go. Now, with that being done, I just can't bring myself to sell it. You know, I wanted to, but when I saw that drag rating, and I mentioned the video in the future, I think I might do a video on drag racing this vehicle in the future. So you could all look forward to that. And with that being said and done, I would like to thank you for joining me here on my channel for this video. And if you did like the video, please feel free to like it. If you did not like the video, please feel free to dislike it. If you do play this game, plan to play it in the future, or just enjoy watching this content, please feel free to subscribe. I do appreciate any and all commentation, as it does help me get closer to creating the perfect video for you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.